All right, folks, welcome back to the show. It's another episode of the McKinney Podcast where we celebrate what makes us unique by nature. Fred, we've made it to the last episode that we are recording today, but the ladies come in after this for a shot with the First Lady of McKinney. But this is our last episode, and we get the privilege of ending with a doozy.
That's right. And she actually is our third woman on the podcast today.
Yep, today is a lady majority.
That's right.
Yeah, we got two Michaels, and then the rest are just ladies.
That's right.
It's Ladies' Day here at
That's
McKinney
right.
Podcast.
That's right.
Fantastic. I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest. Let's get this thing rolling. All right. Amy Kinkade came to the city of McKinney as Director of Parks and Recreation on March 11th of this year. The paint is still wet in her office, folks. Kinkade has more than 25 years of government experience, and as we said just a moment ago before we started recording, she's a career Parks and Rec girl. She has extensive experience managing big projects like Grape Fest and Main Street Festival over in Grapevine. Been there. If your hands are on that, if those fingerprints are on that thing, then I know exactly what kind of professional you are. And she served as the recreational superintendent for the city of Duncanville. She's in a bunch of affiliations. I can see from the look on her face she's tired of me reading her bio on a podcast. So let me just say that she's a graduate of the University of North Texas in Denton, has lived in DFW her entire life. Please help us welcome Miss Amy Kinkade, Director of Parks and Recreation here in the city of McKinney. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here.
You know, when we were building out our list of things that we just had to have in the topics we wanted to talk about, of course, Parks and Rec is very close to the top. I'm surprised it's taken us, 10 or 15 episodes to get to you, because when people think of McKinney, they think of Parks and Rec. They think of green space. They think of beautiful outdoors, trails, and all the things that go into your world. I'm thrilled to be talking with you.
Excited to be here, just knowing that I'm new, and I appreciate you giving me some time to learn the lay of the land. So thank you.
As we reflect on the fact that you just took your job in March, I guess no one's upset that you had to wait a couple of months to be on the podcast.
Right.
No.
Okay, so we had someone on earlier who is in the finance industry, also a graduate of UNT. Actually, both Michael and it's Oklahoma.
Oklahoma
Sorry,
State
I was
with
thinking,
Michael Quinn.
When you do multiple podcasts in a row,
Michael Jones is UNT.
Yeah, you start confusing details.
Yeah.
But Michael Quint, who is in planning, also alum of UNT, does not have a degree in planning. He has a degree in sociology, right?
Yeah. You're getting Michael Jones and Michael Quint mixed up.
Yeah, no, it's like that's
Michael Quint went to Oklahoma State University.
Yes. Sorry, that's it. But my point is, his degree is in sociology, but he's in planning. What was your degree from UNT?
It was actually in recreation.
Really?
It was in recreation and leisure studies. It's one of those degrees that nobody really knows it
didn't even
exists.
know that was a degree.
I started school not knowing what I wanted to do when I grew up.
Standard.
So
That's
I'm
standard.
working at the Y as a lifeguard and running pools at 18 and started school. I just didn't know, and I was talking to a friend who had the same major, and I was like, holy crap, that's totally what I want to do when I grow up. So started taking 21 hours and got out of there as fast as I could.
21 credit hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
I did
That's
that
a lot.
for at least 2, if not 3 semesters, but I graduated in 3 semesters. So
Wow.
So she goes beast mode on everything.
I did. I knew what my passion was, and it was easy for me. And
Wow.
It was awesome.
Hats off to you there, lady. The most I ever did was 18, and that was only one semester. And I was a biology major back in the day, and I'm not doing anything biology related now. But 18 almost killed me.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't even imagine 21 for 2 or 3 semesters in a row.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I wasn't working, so that helped. I only worked during the summer. So
Yeah,
that did help.
that does help a little bit. So you just became obsessed with school and just knocked it out as fast as you
did.
could, huh?
I did. I was eager to get started and start making a difference just in what I was doing.
Very cool. What is your mission, your guiding philosophy, Amy Kinkade's North Star when it comes to the way you spend your time and energy?
Is just making a difference in as many people's lives as I possibly could. whether it's staff, mentoring them, getting them where they want to be, for the residents of, providing them opportunities and memories forever. That has always been my passion, and just giving 110% and providing those for anyone and everyone.
Cool. So you are coming in, you're in charge of a vast enterprise. There's a lot that happens in your department.
There's a lot.
Other than public services and like the utilities people and waste management and whatnot, maintenance and roads and repairs and whatnot, I would imagine you probably have the largest department as far as a head count of staff, right?
Yes. So it's typically it's of course fire and police,
Sure.
and then IT, and then I would say I was probably next.
Wow.
Or close to public works.
Okay.
So huge department. I mean, a lot of people don't really know the whole, department and what all we touch. But I mean, we are responsible for medians and just everything and anything you could think of. Any green space. So there's a lot.
If it's green, it's in your
us.
department. Yeah.
It is us.
There you go.
So do you get in territorial fights when planning or those other people are like, hey, we're gonna cut up this piece of earth here and pave it over?
We do, but we work well together. Like I like to say, hey, we're all in the same sandbox. Let's play nice. I will say, coming from other cities, McKinney is by far just the best people. Great, just teamwork efforts, and I couldn't say enough positive about my experience here in the last 5 months.
Excellent. So you said medians, so like easements and things like that, that's all you as well?
Yes. Some
Really?
of the, like Stonebridge, some of those, it's HOA, but most of them do fall within Parks and Rec. Of course, it's contracted out, which is the good and the bad, because we can't always have control of when the contractors do what they need. And currently there's a couple that don't look so great. So just staying on top of them and making sure that they get the love and attention they need.
So do you also handle like the street sweepers that come along and clear the gutters and things?
That would be streets.
Oh, that would be,
Yeah.
that would actually.
Yeah.
See that word street in the front of the word
Well,
sweepers?
I didn't know, maybe, so.
The grass sweepers, yes.
Yes.
Yes, she does
Yes.
that.
The mowers, yes.
As soon as it hits the curb, then it's all you.
Yes,
But
right.
everything on the other side is not you. Okay.
It's jurisdiction. Street is a different department.
Okay.
Yeah.
But if they happen to blow the trash up onto the
Then it
easement,
becomes Parks.
Then it would be
becomes
us.
part of the rest. That's interesting.
Good correlation.
Oh, man. There you, and
Parks Rec and easements.
and we are back. That's right. So I'm just kind of racking my brain here on where to take this conversation, because there's so many different directions we could go in. I think it's fascinating to think about the broad scope that's under your department, because Parks by itself is a gigantic undertaking, from the Crepe Myrtle Trail to Bonnie Wank to Irwin to Myers to all the other parks that aren't tucked inside of an HOA neighborhood somewhere. But then the recreation side of things is also quite significant, especially in recent years, with the Apex Center, with the Courts McKinney, with the skate park. There's so many different things that fall under recreation. The old settlers over there on the east side. How do you make sense of which plate is deserving to get spun first? Like, I guess you guys have big picture planning, obviously, where you decide what your master plan is. Does that happen every year? Is it every 5-10 years, like the city has their big comprehensive plan? How do you guys keep track of what deserves the most attention when? Because there's a lot going on in this city.
Currently, what I'm doing is just meeting with the individual divisions to see what their visions are. Where we're going to be in 5 or 10 years. It's important to start working on those things now. My big push is always, we have the existing stuff, but also looking in the future as we grow, which we're growing at such a fast pace, but how do we keep the existing shiny while we're continuing to build?
Yeah.
But it's, coming up with that 5-year plan of what's coming online, what is it going to take to maintain it, to make sure that we have enough staff and just the resources to be able to do that. I'm working on a 5-year strategic plan, but we really need to be focusing on 10, 15 years on land acquisition again, since we're growing so fast.
Yeah, and the conjunction, the coordination, I should say, with other bodies like Community Development Corporation and Economic Development Corporation. Your predecessor, Mike Kowski, we've had him on a few weeks ago, and he was in the role for I think about 8 years, give or take. What's that been like to have your predecessor still in the same town and able to offer insight if you have a question about, hey, what's going on with this thing over here? Or if you just need to ask for some perspective on something, to have the guy who did it at a really high level still in the same sandbox that you're in. That's got to be pretty cool.
It's amazing. I constantly call him, hey, what was your mindset behind this? He's just a great guy anyway,
Yeah.
that provides such a good insight. And I couldn't be more excited to have that opportunity to work alongside of him. You know, it's important for Parks and Rec and his world now. So for him to be able to take that to what he's doing now, but also being able to help me with just making sure that we're aligning and moving forward for the city, for his vision and what he's built, and me continuing what he was building, but with my own spin on it. So it's so rewarding.
It's got to
so
be a
positive.
lot of fun.
It is.
Yeah.
Man, so with all of the development that's happening in McKinney, do you sit there and look at the undeveloped land and say that would be a great place for a park? Or, you know, obviously you have insights as to who is looking at what properties and what they're looking to develop there. And do you just say, man, I think that would be an ideal location? Or has that already been kind of pre-planned?
So we completed a master plan of all of the park system, which is so helpful to help us identify the needs area. As new growth is coming up, we have a park dedication that they can donate land. We have an ordinance. So when new things are being built, then we get some funding from that, as well as some land to make sure that we're preserving for the neighborhood parks down the road. So it's just trying to identify, you know, as outside cities come on board, just making sure when they come in the city, just making sure that they're part of the master plan. So it's a lot to keep up with, but we know it's important, and we grab as much green space as we can.
Yes, because, you know, and I concur with James, what he said earlier, that, you know, one of the shining stars of McKinney, or several of the shining stars rather, are that we have great parks, you know, and people are always, you know, whenever people say, oh man, found this park, Irwin, and I'm like, how long you been here?
Right. It's a hidden gem. And, you know, we have around 50 parks within the city, and a lot of people don't realize there's that many parks.
Yeah.
But knowing that we're, you know, Irwin Park specifically trying to make some major improvements there, very exciting to see happen probably in the next few years being completed.
So Fred and I, this entire podcast, we have no element of being unbiased at all. We're totally biased in favor of McKinney. It is the greatest city in the entire world, of course. Fred and I hold that view very strongly. You just got here, and I would love to hear, for such an accomplished lady who has such a distinguished career in Parks and Rec, in that world, what is it about McKinney that made you say, you know what? That's where I want to go. I'm going to respond. I don't know if it was a headhunter, recruiter, or whatever, or if someone tipped you off that this was a thing. How did you decide, one, you wanted to even consider the job? And what is it, now that you've been here for several months, what is it about McKinney that makes you go, yeah, I like this?
I will tell you the number one thing, I actually live here.
Really?
I've lived here the last 6 years.
No kidding.
So again, I knew as soon as the position opened up, I wanted to. It's been a very long time since I've been able to work in the city I live. So just being able to work in McKinney where I've lived, it brings that sense of pride that a lot of people don't get, but also just to see the families and stuff. You know, I've lived here but worked in the city of Irving, and all my time was spent there. So now I'm getting to discover all of those hidden gems that I didn't even know about.
Yeah.
So just looking at the future, how do we tell our story better to those that don't know about all the parks and all of the opportunities and programs that we have.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Talk about inside baseball, man. She's
That's
like,
right.
now, how does one know about a job posting internally? Is there like a little insider group of Parks and Rec people that hang out and talk shop? Like, you knew the moment the job was posted. How is that? I'm just curious. I'm not in that world at all.
I will say that just organizational. I've worked with a couple of people that are HR here, so they reached out and said,
There
"Hey,
it is.
Amy,
yeah,
Amy, there's a job.
I
Amy,
know."
go apply for this. That's so cool.
Yeah,
Is there like a secret back room where people are like,
Here we go.
I want Amy for that position?
Or just we're joking. Sorry, Fred is being goofy. I apologize. The confused look you see on her face. There's a when Michael
No
Quint,
gotchas. No gotchas.
Michael Quint was in here. We were talking about. There was a conversation with some moms at my kids' school. My wife volunteers. She's a room mom, and she was talking about, or she was overhearing a conversation with some other moms in the copier room. We're talking about how there's a seedy back room where all these decisions are being made in private, and then there's a powerful group of elites in the shadows that's deciding all the things. And I don't know if the allegations have ever been such for Parks and Rec. It's more like the next chiropractor or nail salon or car wash that goes up.
I think part of that look too was so my plan was to stay in Irving. There was no. But how can you resist working for McKinney? But there was secret behind closed door conversations like, what will it take for you to stay here? And just
they
different
know,
city.
They know the gym they have in you. And when you're thinking, I can work where I live and I don't have to
know.
deal with that traffic between here
I
and
know.
there.
My commute went from 1 hour one way to 8 minutes. So
Oh, gosh.
it's a game changer.
That's right.
What's the family situation? Are there responsibility for kids or nieces, nephews? What do you have going on in the personal side of things? Are you able to recapture that time and
Yes.
spend it with the loved ones?
And such a perfect time. I have a bonus son who is 17, a senior at McKinney High.
Cool.
So I get to enjoy the senior year with him. So
Awesome.
super excited about that.
Love
I
that.
love it. Yeah, he's a big soccer player, so
Wow.
I'll be able to make his last high school years.
Man. You
Soccer
can't
games.
replace that. It
No,
is just as
absolutely
good
not.
as it gets.
I agree.
Awesome.
Okay, so I have a question about. I have a friend who he's in the senior range, right? But he wants to remain active, and he swims every single day. And I was like, "Where are you swimming?" And apparently, there's a senior aquatic center.
Yes.
Yes, and I didn't get it deeply into it with him because I'm not quite there. Getting close.
I don't know,
Getting
man.
close, man. Getting close. In 2 weeks, I'll be 1 year closer.
I was about to say,
in 2 days, I'll be 1 year closer. But when it comes to things like the aquatic center and things like that, did I read correctly that you don't have to purchase a membership?
Correct.
So how does that work?
So you can buy day passes. There's aquatic side. You can participate in programs. Probably the one thing that I'm somewhat offended, and I shouldn't be saying this, but you have to be 50 to be a senior in our city. So
Oh wait, only 50?
only 50.
You're already eligible, baby. There
so
you go.
I love it because I just turned 50 this summer. So I'm like, oh, now I get a membership to the senior center. Congratulations.
Okay, and so for our
Oh,
audience
man.
who did not realize that we have a senior center, where is that located?
It's located just on the east side, near Tennessee. It's not that far from Finch Park.
Okay.
It's the easiest way to describe it.
All right. Okay. All right. And
She
so,
she speaks in terms of parks.
Yeah.
The landmarks are wherever the nearest park happens to be.
yeah, but you know what? Most everybody
Go to
knows where
Finch
the
Park,
parks are.
turn right. It's a mile down the
Exactly.
street on the left-hand side.
Just near Town Park, too.
There you
Town
go.
Lake.
And you can purchase a day pass. You do not have to be a member.
Yeah.
So that's great.
So you mentioned Old Town Lake, or sorry, just Town Lake, I guess. What is it about Town Lake and the water control things? Like, I swear, of all the bodies of water in our city, it seems like that one is the most prone to flooding. If it rains 3 drops of rain, Town Lake is
Flood.
is over its boundaries. Any plans to do any sort of remediation or infrastructure work there?
So we are actually going to start renovating that whole space.
Cool.
We're going to start with the light walk. Our goal is in the next 3 to 5 years to make it more like a boardwalk, which will be amazing. So the first part is going to be a light walk, which we can program different lighting for events and music, and it's going to be amazing. The second part of that is going to be adding a dog park. We've hit a couple of hiccups, but hopefully we'll be able to go to bid sometime next year. But the biggest project currently going on is the renovations of the rec center at Town Lake. Should be done by probably January, February. So that will be the first thing that opens. The light walk should come soon after, probably around April. And then after that, the dog park and just some other amenities, playgrounds and stuff. So
Cool.
So when you say boardwalk, that's you don't have plans to put in like commercial space, restaurants,
No,
things like that.
no.
Okay. All right. So if they
there'll be
want
some
that,
opportunities.
if they want
for,
that, they can go.
yes,
They can go further down
Yes.
121 and get
Yes.
that. Okay. All right.
So with those, we are going to redo the trail system, and just because there's some corrosion and some issues with that, to try to elevate it so it won't flood as bad as it currently is.
Well, I
Bless
think that we have so much streets and concrete, and the runoff from there. I mean, it's amen for the engineers who programmed all that, but it does.
As a cyclist, those like flooded things are. I mean, water is so dangerous when you're riding a road bike.
Right.
It doesn't
Little
take but
skinny
just a
tires.
couple of
That's
millimeters and you lose traction.
Yeah.
So that was a perfectly selfish question. So thank you for indulging me.
But we got some things to
Because
look
we
forward
got
to.
the lady who knows what she's
That's
doing.
right, absolutely.
So I wanted to give you the opportunity to share any updates, any announcements, any things that you're excited about in the coming months. Like when people listen to this episode, there's two kinds of audiences, obviously. There's the first run audience that hears your show in September of 2024. And then there's the second audience who is playing catch up. A fan who joins us later on in the podcast. We intend to do this for years and years and years. That's Fred and I plan on this being a thing for a long time. So there'll be other people that catch this episode at some unknown time in the future.
Right.
So anything you want to share and what's going on with Parks and Rec, any big announcements coming up this fall or even over the winter time?
There are so many projects currently in the works. Probably the one biggest one currently that should finalize the CO is phase 1 of Craig Ranch, the McKinney Soccer Complex. If you have not gone by there, it's a must. It is the most beautiful fields you will ever see. Phase 2 will be out for bid probably sometime next spring, hopefully with the construction, but a new championship field, which will be sod. It's just going to be, I'm going to say, put my neck out there, but it's going to be one of the best in the whole Metroplex. We are working on a huge tournament. I guess I can say it because I know it's going to happen, but it's going to be the International Cup of McKinney. The U90, we're working with them on bringing international teams starting in April of 2025 and growing that from year to year. It used to be in Dallas, but now they're moving to McKinney just because they see the desire to bring in huge tournaments like that. So that's kind of a big announcement.
That's very cool.
Yeah, that is very big.
Anytime McKinney beats out Dallas is a great day.
I know.
Love it.
I know. So that's one of many. Irwin, like I said, we're working on some design work on that. I'm trying to change out the blue restrooms to something more natural, and bringing out some upgrades on the just the campsites and stuff, actually making an entrance to the park versus just a sign like, oh, did I miss it?
Just heard.
Yeah.
Right. But we have a lot of land that we're looking at doing some feasibility study and determine what the biggest needs are. But we have probably about 20 pretty large projects in queue
Very
in the
cool.
next 3 years.
Love it.
How about that?
That's a whole podcast in itself.
Oh, it really is. Yeah. And obviously there's certain things that you're not able to talk about yet because they're still in some form of planning or another. And once the cat gets out of the bag, you don't put it back in. So
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Fred, anything else you want to ask before we head to the wrap up?
Well, just selfishly, because I have a lot of parent friends whose children are in soccer. Can you talk a little bit more about the Craig Ranch soccer thing?
Sure. So we usually partner with McKinney Sport Associations through our designated partners. So we've identified that. We're currently working through with McKinney Soccer Complex coming online what those policies are, because we know through the bonds that it's important to offer something to the residents, but also it's important to provide for the sport associations to allow them space and time to grow their teams.
So you're talking a new location?
It's in the existing.
Oh, in the existing
Yes.
location.
Yeah.
So when you do the renovations, will the number of fields available be reduced?
Yes.
Okay.
We've moved when we in the past phases we moved them to Al Rashoff, just to allow them an alternative use place to go practice and play. So we try to give locations so they're still able to play, but it's not always the best places. But
Oh, that's a great park. And
Yeah.
actually, thank you for pronouncing that, because I don't know how to pronounce
yeah,
that.
I know
It's
it
like
took me a
Rauschhaft,
couple of months. I'm
Rausch.
like, how do you say this? So yeah, but we're one other sports complex, since we're on sports, is we're adding a fourplex of softball at Gabe Nesbitt. So that will complete pretty much that master plan for that park. So that's kind of exciting.
Okay.
We are also adding, hopefully in the next year or two, another practice space just on the south side of Apex. So we know that that's a huge need here. We'll never catch up to the National Parks and Recreation guidelines, but we're going to get as close as we can.
So where you just described that, so is the field between the existing fields and the library, that's
The fourplex.
Okay.
Yes. So that's where the fourplex of softball will go.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
And
I
those
was wondering what was going to happen with that grass.
Yeah. And those are going to be synthetic as well. So we won't have to worry about as much
all the clay
rain out
and the
stuff
grass and all
clay
that thing.
out.
So are the plans ultimately to replace the clay and the turf and the grass in the other fields so that they're all that way
Yes.
too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Slowly.
Excellent.
That is, it makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I think of all the moms who have to wash that out, as
Right.
those kids go for the slide.
Exactly.
They're like, that's one less thing. So they'll put up with the inconvenience for a little bit
You're right.
for the reduced laundry load later on. So I love it.
Well, and synthetic turf has less irrigation responsibilities. There's less, erosion. There's a lot of people are upset about anything you replace some natural grass with
That's right.
synthetic something. There's definitely pros and cons for sure.
Well, as the photographer, I actually prefer the clay because there's nothing like when someone comes sliding in and
Dirt.
everything's flying everywhere. But, with those synthetic fields, those little plastic or the little rubber chunks come flying around them too. So, it's a little bit
Have you ever
different.
played on a football field that has those tiny little rubber granules? They literally get everywhere. They
Listen.
will get inside your sock.
Standing on the sidelines with my cameras, I come home and I'm like emptying out my shoes going, what did I do to get this inside my shoes?
Yeah.
And inside
All
my
you have to
socks?
do is walk on the field, and
Yes.
then it's a black rubber takeover.
That's right. But
So-
I do agree with you. In the long run, it is an investment, but the long-term payback, the return on that is absolutely superior.
Just so I'm clear, maybe I misunderstood. We're talking about the grass or the clay? It's going to be synthetic.
That grass.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
So
so you're keeping the clay?
Yes.
Oh, all right.
because I realized that you and I were saying two different things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
wait a second, let me get some clarity from
Yeah.
Amy on this, because I think it was the grass.
Oh.
Yeah, because sorry, the clay's going to stay, buddy.
Yes.
So that entire conversation about black rubber granules was completely non
Throw that
sequitur.
out. Throw that
Amy's
out.
like, what are you talking about?
They're talking
Black rubber granules?
Backroom deals.
I know, right?
What is going on with this podcast?
What did I agree
These
to?
weirdos, man.
We told you we're just regular folks here, right?
No, gosh. I promise you 30 minutes of runtime. We're almost there. Fred's got some lightning round questions. Before we wrap up, is there anything we haven't asked you about that you wanted us to? Is there anything you want to throw out there before we start landing the plane?
Nope. I encourage everyone to go find a new park that they might not know about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
love that.
if somebody wants to get equipped with knowledge of where the resources are and what they can take advantage of as a citizen of the great city of McKinney, what's the best place to do that? Is it a social media page? Is it a city website somewhere?
There is, and there's tons of stuff. We have the program guide currently up online, so you can see all of the classes that we have to offer. There's the master plan that can show you the future plan for the next several years, what the priorities are. But website is always good if you're looking for events and stuff. I would say social media is probably your best route to go.
Very cool.
Excellent. Okay, so we do a lightning round where we just ask you
right.
questions. It's totally your opinion, no right or no wrong answer.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so first off, Texas heat or Texas summer or Texas winter?
Texas summer.
Summer.
Wow.
I'm
And-
born in summer and I love the heat and
Okay.
sun.
She's wearing a long sleeve,
Sweater.
long
Black
sleeve
sweater.
turtleneck. But it does have the cold shoulder.
Yeah.
So she does have a little bit of cooling there. So Texas.
The ladies
summer.
in my office have clued me in on women's winter. It doesn't matter what time of year it is; it can still be winter indoors.
That's right.
So-
That's right. Unless
true.
they're in that season of life where they're having power surges, and then it's like women's summer on the face of the sun.
Wow.
You'll get. I also won't get there one day. You'll understand. All of a sudden, it's like whoa. Okay, so tacos or barbecue?
Tacos.
Tacos. She
Absolutely.
didn't even question that.
No, she went fast. All right.
That's right.
What's your favorite taco spot in McKinney? Or two. You can name two.
I really don't. I don't know.
Okay.
I should know that. Do y'all have any suggestions for me to try?
Ooh, man. I mean, every taco shop I've ever
That's
been to
right.
on the east side, I mean, all
Yeah.
of them. I mean, the of the chains, probably Torchy's is my
Yeah.
favorite. I like Torchy's, but that's not a McKinney spot.
Yeah.
Taco Ocho on the west side, right there on Custer. It's one of my wife and I's favorites.
Okay.
Absolutely one of our favorites, as well as oh my goodness, it's on El Dorado.
I'm trying to think of which
It's very
taqueria
good.
it is. I forget the name of it. The sign says taqueria.
Okay.
I forget which one it is. It's off of McDonald. It's just a little bit north of the downtown area, and yeah, they're phenomenal.
Yeah. There's a place that somebody brought. I don't even know what it was. It was like a taco, and it was the big orange building. I don't know the name of it, but it's the orange building.
Well, now I'm gonna have to go look it up and figure out which taqueria it was, so I
Yeah.
can give them a proper shout out.
Okay, so she's definitely tacos over barbecue.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor Swift or Journey?
Journey.
She was shaking her head
That's
before
right.
you
She
gave her
said
the
that.
second option.
Yeah. So for people who are listening, she did this little lip thing.
Like,
That's why you
The
want to
lip
tune
curl.
in. You want to tune into the YouTube channel and catch that.
Oh,
She
man.
was like solid on that one.
You
Yeah.
could have said any other musical artist, and she would have picked
That's
the
right.
second one.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Oh, man.
Absolutely. That was amazing. Okay.
What did T Swizz do to offend you, Amy?
I'm an 80s girl.
Yeah.
I'm much more into 80s music than,
Poison,
yeah, all of that.
AC/DC,
All the big
yeah,
hitters.
Cindy
Yeah.
Lauper,
That's
Yeah.
right.
yeah.
Excellent.
Madonna,
All right, James.
yeah.
Take it away.
Is that we're at with the last
yeah.
one? Huh?
We want to respect her time.
We absolutely. Okay, here's our last question. We ask everybody the same question. Imagine, if you will, a swimming pool of infinite size. There's no edges to the pool. It is 6 feet deep. Who would win in a fight between a great white shark and a giant 12-foot polar bear?
I'm going to say, that's a good one. I'm going to say a great white.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Help me out. How do you reach that conclusion?
Well, I'm more of a water person,
Okay.
but I also love bears.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that if you flipped a shark on its back, that it would become paralyzed, but the bear wouldn't be smart enough to know that.
Mm.
And how well does bears really swim? Polar bear? I guess they do. Polar bears.
It sounds like she's coming over to Team Bear.
Yeah.
You started
Yeah,
out Team
she's-
Shark.
that's
but
right.
I know, I
you're
kind of
kinda-
went-
You're
I
talking,
kinda
talking
was
yourself
like,
into Team Bear.
I don't know. I'm a shark person, so
Yeah.
I'm like,
Okay.
And she did choose Texas summer, so
Yeah.
sharks, beach, summer.
It
yeah,
all makes sense.
That's right.
So you're Team Shark.
sure, yeah.
Okay. All right. Team Shark it is. No, that's we love ending every episode with a random fun question
It's
like
yeah.
that. Yeah. People take it a lot of different directions. I've
Yeah.
always been pleasantly surprised
Right.
there.
And the reasons behind.
There you
Well,
go.
and I think part of it too is in my initial interview with the city of Irving, I keep going back there, but I have a lot of memories there. But
Sure.
the director, when his ending, if you were one creature in the sea, what would you be? And I went straight to shark. And he goes, "You're my girl." He goes, "I'm always looking for sharks."
Yeah.
So I think that's why I was quick to say sharks, but I'm like, but I like bears too. So
Yeah. Hey, the beautiful thing is there's no wrong answer to
Right.
that question. Either
right.
one's fine. Now, Amy Kinkade, this has been a great conversation. Folks, I'm going to look right at the camera when I say this. Go to the city website. We'll drop it information in the show notes to make sure that you know where to go to get information about all of the parks and recreation facilities available to you as a citizen of the great city of McKinney. And there's lots of great people that work in Amy's department if you need assistance with any questions you may have. And that is it. Go out and enjoy the wonderful city that we all get to live in. Make it a great day, ladies and gentlemen. We'll talk to you again real soon. Y'all take care.